eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light in our galaxy. Everything. Because everything is in balance. Everything is a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.
Yo, what the hell is going on? I'm asking you guys, like, what is actually going on? Does anyone have any answers here? Because I don't. How are we all? Hope you're all having a good weekend. Happy Sunday, wherever you are. I think it's Sunday everywhere right now. It's either Sunday night in Australia or it's Sunday morning pretty much everywhere else in the world. So happy Sunday. Hope you're all doing well. It's been a little bit of a weird week, actually, and that's why we're going to talk about it. It's been a while since we've done a weird week. I mean, we're doing weekend shows, but they kind of haven't really been called Weird Week, but they've been kind of like the same thing. I just haven't really been using the title. But Weird Week is the flagship show. It's where we're going to recap 4 stories from the week, and we're going to hang out. We're going to have fun. And these are the ones that I love, where we hang out and just chat shit, and it's going to be a good time. So I'm looking forward to it. Hope you are too. Wherever you are, get a coffee, beer, water, whatever your flavor is, go and get it and get comfy. And by the way, let's just address the elephant in the room. And no, I'm not talking about Suki. I'm talking about this weird guy in a black shirt. Who is this guy? Who is this man in black? They must have seen the video that's coming out tomorrow. And the men in black are here. I think that's what it is. No, in reality, it's just very cold. And I don't have a white jumper. In fact, I wouldn't trust myself with a white jumper. I barely trust myself with white t-shirts. I put them on when I film videos and I take them off because otherwise I'm spilling shit on it 100% every time. Every time I eat pasta, I happen to have a light colored shirt on and I ruin it. So, you know, I've learned. Shirt comes off when I'm done. Now, what are we doing today? Well, I'll tell you. We're going to go over the Varginha stuff, okay? Because that video came out yesterday and a little bit controversial. Apparently, it's not new footage. It's definitely new to me. But we'll look at it. We'll talk about it. We're going to look at a friend of mine's video on it as well. Now, I saw this in the chat. This wasn't originally in the show, but, you know, I listen to you guys. I'm one of you. And you were saying you want to talk about this 3-eye Atlas asteroid. And I've seen stuff about it, but haven't really looked into it much because, well, I don't know why, actually. I think it just doesn't really interest me. Like, it does interest me. Why is that like that? It does interest me. But for some reason, when I see it, I'm just like, it just feels fake. Just feels like fear-mongering. Like, because, like, what's the story? This is what I mean. I don't know. They're saying it's like an intergalactic alien spaceship coming to Earth. Like, bro, please. Please. I've been here long enough to know that's bullshit. Macca, my man, welcome. Thank you for being here. Chuck's in a $5. Congrats on the last video getting out there to the people. Thank you, man. Yeah, it did. It did get out there, actually. As soon as I posted it, it was doing numbers. I was like, damn. Dude, it's so ironic. Like, I've spent days, like, you know, researching, planning, structuring the video, filming it, editing it, and it absolutely flops on its ass. And yesterday, I was just in Discord. My man Jared said, hey, did you see this video? Because Crazy T, I believe, posted it in Discord. I didn't see it. And Jared, like, reposted it to me and was like, hey, did you see this? I had a look at it. I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. And he's like, yeah, I was low-key hoping you'd make a video about it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm down to talk about this. I've never seen it before. From start to finish, that video was like, the idea inception and uploaded was like 2 hours. And it's like the most viewed video I've ever done. It's ridiculous. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? We're also going to look at Skywatcher. Apparently, a video has leaked from Skywatcher, and a guy on X has done like a little breakdown analysis of it. So we'll check that out. And we're going to be wrapping up today with the man, the myth, the legend, David Icke. And this is annoying me. Here we go. Hopefully that should fix that. Get that thing out the way. Yeah, we're going to be looking at David Icke today. So a video has just come out. Now, God, I don't want to say it's new, not after yesterday, far out. It's new to me. And I don't know. It looks new. It's David Icke on stage talking about, you know, reptiles and stuff, doing his thing. And it's about 20 minutes long. So I was going to watch it because I like David Icke. But I thought, you know what? That'd be pretty fun to watch on stream because, you know, this is a lizard-friendly place, okay? So let's do it together. Deanna says, what about Billy Corgan and the shapeshifter? Well, Deanna, you're going to have to wait until tomorrow for that one. I filmed that today, and I was thinking, so it's 9:30 p.m. here right now. And my original plan was to film it today, edit it today, or most of it, do a live, and then post it tomorrow morning. But in reality, like, bro, I need a rest. I need a rest. So it's not going to be edited tonight at all. But I will edit it tomorrow morning, which means it'll probably be up tomorrow night. Dope says, I saw Icke live when he came to Australia. Damn, when was that? That must have been a while ago. Rogue ET threw in a tenner. Didn't leave a message, but my brother, I appreciate you. Always see you in here. Thank you for the support. Where were we? Yes, the video tomorrow. So filmed it today. Honestly, look, I don't want to give away too much because I mean, even after what I just said, you know, the ones that you think are going to do well never do. It's just always like that. And the ones that you think are just like a little off the cuff, whatever video always seem to do well. I don't know what that's about. I'm sure other content creators can relate to me. I don't want to give too much away. The story of who the person is goes for about probably 15 minutes. The whole video is probably going to be like 50 minutes because I kept pulling the thread of like following who this person was and like why, like the similarities that popped up in this story that I learned about of the story of the shape-shifting event and who it is. The details that are in that story align with other things that we've looked at. So I began kind of like connecting dots and just kind of kept pulling at it and kept going and ended up in like the deepest, darkest place probably possible, probably pushing the limits of what I can even say on YouTube. And I'll be honest, like I don't often get nervous to post a video, but like this one, I was a bit like pulling my hair like, oh, fuck, do I say that? Like, should I say that? But no, I think I should say that because, you know, I'm not saying it to like upset anyone. I'm saying it because I believe it. I think it's real. And I think a lot of you guys would think it's real too, but you know, we're kind of flirting with the realm of like, you know, triggering some virtue signalers to pop up and claim that I'm being this or I'm being that. And that's just not the case at all. And I know that you guys who watch me regularly or have watched me for a long time know that. Like, I absolutely come from like a place of love and just like wanting the world to be a better place. That's literally what this channel is about. But yeah, I think I just had to pick my words carefully. And I think I've done that, but I've got all of tomorrow to like, you know, tinker with it and play with it. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to you guys seeing it and hearing what you guys think. But I reckon let's get into today's show. And 27 sec, I don't know what that is, but thank you for the 27 sec, Ducky Med. Yo, appreciate the support, my man. Let's get into today's show. I reckon we're going to kick it off where we sort of left off with the last video, which was the Varginha alien, because this thing has been making a stir. What do you guys think in the chat, by the way? So actually, look, let's just highlight this because I didn't really mention that in the video. Just at the start here, you can see that this is obviously being filmed on a screen, right? Now, the Dorito eating, Mountain Dew drinking brigade came out on X saying that this is, first of all, saying that it's not new, which is totally fair enough. I thought it was. That's my bad. It was definitely new to me and new to a lot of people. So I'm still glad I made the video because I know lots of people had never seen it. So I'm not worried about that. A lot of people say that it's been debunked. No one's providing a source. No one's providing a source. Now, I mean, this obviously isn't CGI. So I think, like, if this is fake, it's because they've used, like, some kind of puppet doll in the thing and maybe tried to add grainy VFX over the top. James King, with a 1 month milestone chat, says, first weirdo month milestone. Keep up the good work. Love the deep dives and niche content. James from Cooperoo. Coops! Brother, I spent a lot of time at Coops Skate Park when I was a teenager. I used to frequent those areas quite a lot. And the procrastinating prepper has just become our latest weirdo. Can we see some Polarity loves for the procrastinating prepper? Probably not something you want to procrastinate for. Get on top of that. You never know, just in case anything could happen. So yeah, this footage, right? It's super interesting. Yep, Coops. Yep. Definitely a regular at Coops back in the day. A lot of people saying it's debunked. No one's coming forward with like how it's been debunked. However, there are a few things on X that are probably worth looking at. And also, if you guys use TikTok and you're into UFOs, you've probably seen a guy named Matt who runs a channel called UFOs Around the World. And Matt actually spoke to the person who put this footage out. So we kind of do, like, when people were saying this footage is old, I was saying, like, who, where did it come from? And no one really had answers. But Matty got in contact with me and said that when this came out, he was sort of like deep in it. And he spoke to the person who allegedly, well, not allegedly, he spoke to the person who filmed it. Whether it's real or not is what, is being alleged. A lot of people in the chat going, it's fake, sadly. Diesel, don't be sad, bro, because you don't actually know that. Like, you don't. You said you've seen it when you're a kid. So it's like, what was the capabilities of faking it back then? I'm not saying it isn't fake, but like, we actually don't know. And like, you don't know. Unless you're the one who faked it, you just feel like it's fake. And that's totally fair. Like, you're totally entitled to that opinion. But saying it with a definitiveness and conviction is like, what are you talking about, brother? With all due respect, of course. Dope says, Diesel said it's fake. Let's turn off the stream. Yep, that's it. Good night, guys. Thanks for coming. All over. No, look, let's talk about it. Because, like I said, no one really, everyone's going debunked, fake, but there was not many people had answers. So let's take a look at what I found on Twitter first. And I can't help but call it Twitter still, by the way. It's still Twitter to me. So there's my post. Again, like, seems to be the most viral X post I've ever done. It's literally a picture. Nearly got 200,000. Like, I've meticulously made shorts and reels that get like 500 views, but that's cool. That's cool. I'll roll with it. I'm not upset. I'm actually not, I swear. All right. So this person posted and said, not saying it's the same creature, but this is a comparison to one of my pieces unearthed in the state of Michoacán, Mexico. I don't know. I've definitely butchered that, but you get that in the big jobs. 2019. And I said, unearthed as in you found it in the ground. And he said, I didn't find it. Between 2017 and 2021, I worked with a few local families who were finding various carvings on their properties. They were poor farmers, and I worked with them and a few intermediaries to secure the items. They didn't have the skill nor material resources to create, and they sold them to me for only the cost of the labor and time to dig. I generally would proactively give more money than asked, since I felt bad paying such a low price. They would frequently give free carvings as gifts too. And that's from Duality. So good on you, Duality, for throwing them a few extra pesos. You bloody good bloke. But pretty interesting, especially when you consider that there's that town in Brazil that I've spoken about quite a bit, in Mato Grosso, where they have all these signs for red-eyed aliens. There's Maddie in the chat now. Welcome, brother. Thanks for being here. We're about to look at your video. You probably better give us maybe some extra input while you're here. But it's interesting, right? That and again, on that place in Mato Grosso that seemed to like celebrate these red-eyed aliens. I had people in the post going like, literally saying the town has been debunked. The whole town. The whole town that if you read the article says they've celebrated this thing for 20 years. It's all been debunked. The entire town and 20 years of its history was just a pretend trick on the internet. So there you go. Turn off the stream. See you next time. It is hilarious. So that's all really from that guy. And then there's this guy, Ronnie Vernet, who is like a, basically I would say he's like one of the biggest UAP researchers in Brazil, if not the biggest. And this is what he had to say about it. And this was in January 2024 when it actually came out. Alleged Varginha ET footage. The filming allegedly took place in 1996 in the city of Eloy Mendes in Minas Gerais. I'm embarrassing myself. It was shown to me on the 1st of the 19th, 2024 by a person who would like to obtain financial benefits. On the 20th of January, I received a copy which I'm making public due to the high probability of fake. After my own analysis, as well as that of other experts from Brazil and abroad, the search continues. And this was something that I saw people saying as well, that, the person who came forward this footage was asking James Fox for money. I saw people saying that on X, which is like, okay. But like they were saying that as like, oh no, it's fake because he was asking James Fox for money. It's like, I get it. That is a bit like, what are your motives? But like, that doesn't mean it's fake. If this guy is from a random town in Brazil, maybe he's struggling. Maybe he's poor. Like maybe he's from the favelas and he saw this and was like, this is my golden ticket. Like, this is my ticket out of the favelas. I'm getting cash for this. Like, I could understand that. I'm not saying I would do it, but like, I don't think that's like unreasonable at all to suggest. But anyway, like I said, my man Maddie, who's here, recently did a video kind of going back over it because it's been resurfaced, and we're just gonna watch a couple of minutes of this. So what he's doing here is he's looking back on his conversation with this person, and most of it like is in Spanish or Portuguese, so they're sort of translating. So you can't directly read it, but Matt is going to give us a little bit of a rundown, and it kind of ends in this person asking for money again from Matt, but this time in the way of like an iPhone or something. Anyway, let's take a listen.
Loads of messages before, I can't bother translating them all, but it's basically me trying to get some information. Perfect, I saw it was serious. People are talking very good about you. I will send you something soon. So all my followers on TikTok went and did me a duty and went and spammed him and said, give it to UFOs around the world, he'll do the right thing and get it out there for you and stuff like that, right? Which I would have done. Any information he wanted to give out there. But then, as I started to ask questions and stuff like that, he started to ask me for things like, he rang me out of nowhere. I was busy, so I put, sorry, just busy at the moment, what's up? That's what this says here, you can't see it. And then he put, I need urgent help to send you part of the video and stay safe. Can you create urgent UKA Varginha with your followers for me to buy a video cassette and stay in a safe place? Then I'll make a call with you. So he wanted me to create basically a GoFundMe page, I think. I'm being persecuted and I don't want to miss the video. Can your followers raise some money? I will send you part of the video. By cassette tape. Friend, the original footage, it's on VHS tape. There is no way to send it you without having a video cassette and recording it for you. So he wanted a video cassette tape. He wanted me to basically set up a GoFundMe page for my followers, which I wasn't going to do, guys. I'm sorry. I might have made a boo-boo. Right? The footage could be real, and I might have made a boo-boo. I might just buy him a cassette tape, but he asked me for a mobile phone as well. It had to be an iPhone.
Matt, because I did a video on the stuff that you got from Peru, right? Ages ago, like those photos of those little alien beings in Peru. And there was that interview footage of that guy that was translated talking about like Sangayan Island and stuff like that. And that guy ended up, mysteriously dying, like a lot of people do talk about this stuff. So I'm curious, like, what were you, was this before then? Because like knowing the kind of pressure that people get put under, especially, Peru's not far from Brazil, that part of the world, we sort of know that story. Did you consider that at all, that like this person could be, genuinely under some kind of threat, given that the people in Peru literally got killed for talking about this kind of stuff? Or was this before that? Because yeah, like I said, I didn't realize that this was January last year. It's like 18 months ago. And I feel like maybe that Peru stuff was later. It must have been. I have no idea, but if you get some video someone like James Fox wants, you should absolutely shake them down for money. I don't know. I guess it depends, right? It depends. If you had actual footage of an alien being, I think it would tell you about like, you know, what is your moral compass on what you do with that footage, whether it has to do with looking for money, trying to get the truth out. I think it would say a lot about your personality. But then again, like I said, some people come from super poor areas, rough areas, and maybe this was like, they thought this was a golden ticket. Who knows? So Maddie's saying, yes, this is the person in the video for anyone who's just joined. He's saying, yes, I think it's potentially real. And the Sangayan source, funnily enough, was speaking to that source at the same time. Interesting. And still am to this day trying to get the other 8 interviews. Oh, yeah, because I remember you said that. I remember you said that there are, a whole handful of other interviews talking about this Sangayan Island incident. But yeah, I don't remember ever seeing anything more. So I guess that's because you never got them. Interesting. So, and that source knows this Varginha source. I find that interesting. I wonder how. I wonder why. I mean, the fact that that person in that interview got killed, I don't know, that puts a bit of weight on this for me. And yeah, I think the video is real. I know a lot of people, you know, say it's debunked or they think it's fake. Like, that's cool. I respect that opinion. I don't. But the thing is, though, like, the difference is people who say it's debunked are just like, it's debunked. They're not open to other possibilities. I think it's real, but I'm absolutely open to the possibility that it could be fake, 100%. But just, I don't know, just given everything that we know, the time that it seems like it came from, where it's come from, the stories that are present in that part of the world, like I said, the things in Mato Grosso, the Varginha incident, like, I think there are lots of things that make me feel like it's real, but I'm open to it being fake for sure. Maddie says, this source is a very wealthy man, totally unrelated to UFO topic, and sorry for the confusion, no Sangayan source does not know this source. Ah, right, sorry, that's my bad. Okay, so you're saying, okay, so we can scrap that. The person from the Peru videos doesn't know this person. So you're saying this source who released the we can go back to it now. You're saying the person who released this footage is wealthy, because they certainly didn't seem wealthy when they were talking to you. They seemed like they were desperate for money, asking for a phone, asking for money for like a VHS, and to protect them from some kind of prosecution, I guess. Or are you talking about someone else? Ah, right. Okay, I understand. The wealthy one is the Sangayan Island, and he is not connected to this source. Understood. Ikuno G, welcome to the Weirdos Club, my man. Thank you. Thank you for the support. Can we see some Polarity loves in the chat for our latest little freak? You just unlocked a whole bunch of new members-only content and the members-only section of the Discord. Tamara says, may I ask how he was killed? Maddie might be able to answer that a bit more clearly for you, but my understanding of the situation is that this person, once he began to speak, they were planning to film a documentary, and during that time, he started to see white people in front of his house. Mind you, this is like rural Peru. And then he started to realize when he tried to talk to them that these people didn't speak Spanish, that they were Americans, gringos. And then he was found dead in his home. That's how I remember it. Maddie might be able to correct me on that one. But yeah, that's the story. So, you know, maybe connect the dots yourself. Or maybe it's just a coincidence. I think coincidence number 7,418, that one would be. And most likely, I think so. That alien species can heal themselves quickly. It's written in the book by Roger Lear. The alien communicated with the doctor at the hospital. Interesting. Well, I mean, the one in that video didn't look like he was in a hurry to heal himself. He looked like he had one foot in the grave and was just hanging out there. Does the sulfur smell fade after the being dies? I couldn't answer that for you, mate. But in the Moment of Contact documentary, they do say that the hospital stank for weeks and they like deep cleaned it with all of the products and it still just stank and there was nothing they could do with it. So perhaps not. Monkey Sausage throws a 10-pound note into the hat. Thank you, my man. Honestly, why shouldn't the original creator of the video make some money when everyone else that shows it will be making money? Hey, I like it. I like the way this man thinks. And 100%. I don't see... I mean, it depends how much you're asking. Like, if you're holding humanity to ransom, then like, come on, brother, relax. But, you know, you wanted maybe a couple grand, and you're from the favelas, and you know, you're asking James Fox, a multi-documentary maker, for just a couple G's. If I was James Fox, well, you know, you hear stories about James Fox getting screwed for like all of his documentaries financially, so maybe he doesn't have as much money as we think. But if I was from the favelas and I was asking for a couple G's, I don't think that's too bad. I think that's reasonable. But who knows what he was actually asking for? People were saying millions. Who knows? Who knows what the actual story is? Yeah, within reason sounds fine to me. Sulfur and ammonia. Yep. That's what we always hear. And which one of those is like the cat pee smell? I think it's ammonia, isn't like, goddamn, that smell is like just hideous. I like cats, but the minute I smell that, I'm just like, get away from me. Not into it. Don't want a bar of it. Get away from me. But cats are sick. If I ever have cats, I'm looking after my dad's cats at the moment, but if I ever get cats, I'll be getting one of those like auto kitty litter 9000s. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to go near it. I don't want to smell it. But I want a little cute kitty on my chest purring. Absolutely. That's healing. That is good for the soul. That is a putrid smell for sure. Yeah, it's disgusting. It is disgusting. So I guess just to wrap this up before we move on to the 3-Eye Atlas story, I think when like all these people come in saying, you know, it's been debunked, like that's all well and good saying that. And if it has, fantastic, we can put it in the bin and move on. But like, don't say it's been debunked and not put a link with what you're saying, because you're just like adding to the noise. Like, if it's been debunked, cool, show me. Because with how far along the line we are and how many cases there are in the world, for anyone who's like not pretty, like for anyone who doesn't have the pineal gland that's basically like a rock, so calcified that they basically have a rock in their brain, it's pretty obvious that like something is going on, that there is some kind of intelligence interacting with this planet. So I think we're at a point now where like it's up to the debunkers to like bring some evidence. And I'm not saying like this video is evidence that it's real. You know, we need to bring the evidence too. Of course, we always have as a believer. But I think the debunkers like need to come to the table. It's 50-50 now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not just like assume it's fake. It's like we need to see evidence either way, in my opinion. And also, it's funny that this is kind of surfacing at the moment, because James Fox has sort of mentioned recently that he is going to be I can't remember exactly, but he said he's either going to be putting out like a new director's cut of Moment of Contact with new information and like new testimony and stuff, maybe new evidence, who knows? Imagine if this is in there. I doubt it, but who knows? Or he's putting out like a part 2. He's doing something with this case. This case is getting a new edition, whether it's in a new movie or like a reprint of Moment of Contact with new information. I'm not sure, but he has said that, and it's happening soon. And it's interesting that this surfaces at the same time. So very interesting. But that's that. We can put that to bed. You can clean the Doritos off your fingers. And let's talk about the 3-Eye Atlas. Stupid name. So like I said, haven't looked into this at all because all I've seen about it is like weird fear-mongering stories like giant alien spaceship coming to kill Earth in 2 years. NASA have just spotted. It's just like, okay, I just don't really care about that at all because it just sounds fake and gay, to be honest. Could have had the first alien cookout with this, maybe obtained superpowers. Coulda, shoulda, didn't. Angry Astronaut posted a grounded video on Atlas. He includes all angles. I believe the commentary tail is facing the wrong direction, and it is definitely interstellar. I haven't looked at the Angry Astronaut's video. He usually does have a pretty good, balanced, and well-rounded take. How long is his video? Maybe we could check it out. If you let me know how long it is, we could maybe watch it after this, because this is only 2 minutes, or we could watch a little bit of it maybe. But yeah, I mean, for me, when I read that, I'm just like, no, it isn't. I just feel that, and I could be wrong. I'm just going off intuition here. But it just sounds like a whole lot of fear-mongering. But anyway, this is a 2-minute video from NASA Jet Propulsion Labs telling us what this 3i Atlas thing is.
This object has just been discovered. 3i Atlas was discovered on July 1st by the NASA-funded Atlas survey. It was discovered using their telescope at Rio Hurtado in Chile, and it was first detected as a speck of light moving relative to background stars. We collected a good amount of data, more than 100 observations. We know its trajectory fairly well. We know it came from outside the solar system. Right now, it's inside the orbit of Jupiter and is headed for its closest pass to the sun at the end of October. That's going to be barely inside the orbit of Mars, and then it's going to keep going on its way out of the solar system. From images, we also saw that this object is active, which means that around the nucleus there is some coma, which is an indication that this object is in fact a comet. Right now, it's hard to say how big this object is because being active, the brightness that we see is partially due to the size of the object, but also is partially due to the activity, and so we cannot really pinpoint the nucleus size directly.
Sorry, but this guy's voice just keeps popping constantly. Is anyone else noticing that? Get it under control.
We have to better understand how active this object is, and then we can refine the size estimate and get a good idea. It's moving at a velocity of about 135,000 miles per hour, so it's going really fast. For that distance from the sun, this is really exceptional. You have to be an interstellar object to be going that fast at that distance from the sun. This object comes nowhere close to the Earth. It's going to make a pass close-ish to Mars at about 30 million kilometers, or roughly 20 million miles from the red planet, but nowhere close to the Earth. It's not going to make a major close approach to any of the planets. So no risk from this object, just a scientific opportunity. The more data we
No risk from this object, but major risk of a testy pop.
get, the better we can measure the position of this object as it travels through the solar system and it moves out of it. But we also want to collect physical characterization data. For instance, we would like to understand better what the size of this object could be, the composition, the levels of activity. We're just bracing ourselves to get as much information as possible. We're really excited about this object. So far, we've discovered 3 interstellar objects. The first one was Oumuamua in 2017, the second one, Borisov in 2019, and now we have the third one, 3i Atlas. So it's a rare opportunity, and as a scientific community, we want to collect as many data as possible to characterize this object and learn as much as we can.
Oh, I was just distracted the whole time. Yeah, I mean, so it's going to be passing 30 million kilometers away from Earth, and doesn't sound like a risk. So I'm not sure why, like, what was it, like the New York Post or something was saying like this is like an alien invasion. I mean, yeah, this is why I guess just like when I saw that post, I'm just not interested in it. Like, yeah, it sounded like nothing, and then after listening to that, it's just like, yep, probably is nothing. Do you guys think I'm wrong? Does anyone in the chat think like I'm missing something, or I was too distracted by the guy's voice breaking every 4 seconds? Angry Astronaut talks about the very low chances that an object like that passes 3 planets so close. What do you mean by that? Can anyone maybe in the chat explain to me what the actual like fuss is about this? Is there a fuss, or is it literally just like random fear-mongering? Almost like they want to get us to use the idea of interstellar, get us used to the idea of interstellar visitors. Yeah, potentially. just a flyby. I'm sure there's plenty of them. It's possibly 11 to 12 kilometers wide. That's a big damn comet. I mean, I think comets are often that big. I mean, like, you know, comets aren't like a baseball. They're always like pretty big. I could be wrong. I'm talking way above my pay grade here. Like I know what I'm talking about. Crazy how we all of a sudden getting all these interstellar objects. Yeah, it is interesting. You know, I would read more into that than anything. Like, rather than the individual story of this galactic space invaders, it's like, why do we keep hearing about Oumuamua? Now this, and I know there was another one. It's like, that's more interesting to me. Because there's shit flying around in space always, all the time, forever. But it's like, now all of a sudden, there is, you know, a lot of people talking about it. Why is that? Oumuamua was weird, bro. Yeah. Don't say it too loud or RB Loeb might pop into the chat and start asking for money. You never know when that guy's going to pop up. $1 billion to study on Oumuamua. All right, let's move on. Okay, let's go to the Skywatcher video. This is something that, you know, maybe has a little bit more substance to it. Where are we? Actually, we're here. This is what we need.
Let's talk.
So this came out. This is another thing that's kind of a bit vague. This just popped up on X, and it's been looked at by, oh God, what's his name? Actually, I think I've got it. Oh yeah, here, sorry. I need to give him some credit. ProPixel Video Analysis and Research. So if you're on X and you follow the UFO stuff, you should definitely follow this guy, because he is like a professional video editor, I think, and he often will do like pretty good, like high level breakdown analysis of footage, and like either debunk or say if something looks like anomalous. And he just said, UAP class Tetra, observations, comparisons, along with new videos, including the latest leaked footage out of Skywatcher. And, excuse me, Ross Coulter retweeted that and said, it appears someone has leaked videos hacked from Skywatcher HQ as Billy details, which is ProPixel. They clearly show a new class of UAP, the Tetra. Begs the question, why is someone leaking footage from Skywatcher research? For what end? So I don't know what he means there, because like I'm like 95% sure the Tetra was part of the 9 UAPs. Like, that's not a new class, unless they just mean it's like new footage of a class that we already know about. But the way that it's worded is like that it's like a new class, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading it wrong. Someone else says leaked footage recorded by the Skywatcher team found on Reddit. Name of the file indicates Tetra class, shortwave infrared. Anyone have more info on this? So it seems like no one, like this stuff just kind of got dropped, and, you know, the old mic drop, smoke bomb, that's it, no info. Which, you know, always gets the gremlins active, stirring the pot, harassing each other. It's always good stuff, isn't it? All right, so let's actually watch that video. So this is ProPixel. This goes for 6 minutes. We might stop off halfway through if we need to.
Talk about UAPs, Tetris.
Yeah, very dramatic music. Hold up. Let me turn that off. We don't want to get knocked off of YouTube. Okay, here we go. I'll turn it up. Why the music? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's annoying. The thing is though, I don't know if ProPixel has, I didn't see the Reddit drop. Okay, so I don't know the original post. So I don't know what ProPixel has added to this. as part of his like breakdown analysis. He could have added the music himself. If he did, please don't do that again. And I'll try and dodge it so we can watch it, and I might mute it if we have to. Rubchin says, you as a creator should know best to respect other creators by putting the source links in the description. It helps everyone and is, in my opinion, the moral thing to do. Brother Rubchen, bro, I haven't even finished the stream yet, okay? This is live. I haven't even finished. We're not even done yet, okay? So just give me a chance. When we finish the stream, all the links will be there.
A leaker intends to disclose sensitive information, typically for personal gain, political motives, or to cause disruption, without prioritizing public good.
And with that, I do want to recognize that we're working with leaked data here. But it's out now, so we're going to talk about it. And what we're going to notice right out of the gate is the level of detail in this clip here specifically. This is infrared, so we're recording thermal.
Sorry, I'm just pausing it because the music is bad, and because if you're live streaming and YouTube detects copyright live, you literally get booted off of YouTube, and I don't want that. So, you know, just trying to break it up a little bit. It is very annoying though.
And to top it off, there was radar released along.
So this is interesting. I mean, it is interesting. The footage is like very underwhelming. What a shock and surprise. But the Skywatcher special, 4 months of waiting for an episode and obscure dot in black and white. But you know, you get what you're given. Rambro's just gifted another one. I didn't see who that one went to, but if it was you, make sure you say thank you. And Rambro, thank you for another gifted membership. You're an absolute legend. It's cool that he has added trails on here though, because at least you can see that these things aren't just moving in a straight line. They're moving a little bit, which I guess signals that it's not a satellite.
And is shortwave infrared.
It's really unclear in this breakdown, like what footage is what, like what. I mean, I wish it probably would have helped if I got to see the original post. From what I understand, it's been taken down off of Reddit. But yeah, it's kind of like unclear, really. Like he sort of is analyzing the footage, but doesn't really explain like what we're looking at or like what the footage is. He's just going straight into the analysis, which is kind of frustrating, to be honest.
Playfulness about them, the way they move as well. And you can see they're interacting with each other. It's, like I said, it's almost playful. All right, now here's the...
That clip was pretty cool, though. Like, I think playful is a good way to describe it. And it's actually how I've described seeing lights in the sky before. I have told this story before, but I've seen lights in the skies that look like stars, and I described them as well as if they looked like they were playing with each other, but they weren't like traveling like that video looked like. They were in the one spot and they looked like they were like dancing and like interacting with each other. So, you know, I resonate with that. This is kind of interesting, right? You can see lights, bright lights off the edge of this, what kind of looks like a black triangle, to be honest.
I'm going to keep saying...
Here we get a decent representation of what things truly look like. So now we know exactly what these things look like. And now it's clear as day. The UFO phenomenon is solved. We can see clear as day what these things look like, and it's case closed. End of stream. I think, no, to be fair, what we just sort of, that's right, we won. What we saw in this last little bit here, sorry, I keep sniffing. Here, this is what I believe, and I don't want to speak for Reese, but I'm pretty sure Reese, who was on the podcast the other day, when he says he saw these lights sort of like, you know, his best description is swimming, I believe it looked something like this. Okay, well, not with the zoom in, but you know what I'm talking about.
Side, and it's black. And then here you can see as they transition from moving around and playing as a group to actually going somewhere, the light that they produce switches over to that flickering mode. So it must require far less effort for them to just be in stable flight forward And here's the example of the other that you can see that's a little bit clearer. But all of these characteristics, right, they all carry over across all of the different observations that we have.
Like, this footage sucks. Whatever, this one was at the start as well, I think. I don't know. To me, this is just like, bro. I mean, I'm not saying it's fake, but like, it's just nothing.
Looking at birds in thermal reality, this exists.
Okay, there you go. It's funny how, like, when, like, you know, this footage comes out. This footage comes out, and, you know, everyone starts weeing on their own toes, screaming that it's fake and debunked, which, you know, again, show me the proof and we can put it to bed 100%. And they're just like totally not open to it. But then
let's talk about UAPs.
Then Mr. Mystery Dots releases a video, and it's like, oh, we've solved it. Woo! UAPs, baby. Like, again, I'm not like, I'm not trying to strongly say either is real or fake, but to me, it's wild that like you actually get a decent video of something and people are just like chewing their fingers off trying to tell you that it's fake and debunked. And then you get the old infrared dot video, the classic go-go UFO special. And it's just like, we've solved the phenomenon. It's like mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling that people absolutely just like pee their pants over this shit. Again, like it, and I hope it's real. I hope it is real. I hope both of those videos are real. But we don't know. We just don't know. So it's like, I'm not getting excited one way or the other. Just for me, I like just take in the data, and like, you don't have to pick a side. You can take in the data and not be like, it's real, it's fake. Like, no one's forcing you to pick. You can just relax and like watch the show and take in the data and maybe make a decision later. I don't know. Maybe get a bit more information before you start vehemently saying something before you actually know. Just a suggestion. So we can move on from that one. Which brings us to our Lord and Savior, Grand Maester, David Icke, aka the Lizard King. And I'm actually really excited to watch this because I like David Icke. I like David Icke because he does not give a shit. And I respect that. He says what he thinks needs to be said. And I think that's important. That's kind of what I've done with the video that's coming out tomorrow. I probably am skirting with some things, flirting with some ideas that people could get very upset about, and I fully understand that. But I think if you get upset about it, it just means your pineal gland has been calcified to a stone, unfortunately. That's just my opinion. You could still be a good person. Let's kick it off. I guess he's banned from Australia too. Is David Icke still banned from Australia? I know he was a long time ago. Davo, yes, Davo. Go on, Davo, you absolute lizard lord. Las Vegas crash was an eye opener for me. They totally avoided it, all of them. Are you talking about the backyard crash? I would like to cover that on the channel for sure. And I also would like to cover the Miami Mall incident, but it's hard to find footage of them. Like, what I want to find, if I'm going to cover those, which I would like to, and if anyone can help me with this, I want to find like TikToks and Instagram reels of people who were there, who were just like, you know, went home and were like, I just saw this. You know, I just want like some firsthand witness testimony, which I think is really only going to exist on places like TikTok, but has also probably been like buried and deleted and shit like that. So if anyone knows any good like witness testimony from those cases, I'd love to see them. Send them to me in Discord. The link is below. Get David on the channel. You won't get a word in for 8 hours. David Icke is the easiest interview of all time. All you need to do is go, so David, how are you? And 3 hours later, you'll be learning about the reptile archons that have been controlling humanity for thousands of years. The easiest interview of all time. Whatever happened was covered up thoroughly. It does seem that way. Apparently, in the Miami Mall incident, it was like, what, kids letting off like a cap gun or something like that? And there was like 4,000 police cars there. It's wild. That's sort of you already, bro. You know what? I'll take that as a compliment. Yep. Wait till you see tomorrow's video. Seriously, wait until you see tomorrow's video. That is, if you don't think if I'm not already on my way to Icke status, not status, but you know, themes and topics, well, wait till you see tomorrow. Watch the Obama reptile video. I'm assuming you're talking about those videos that you see online of like, you know, watch closely and see the president's eye blink to a reptile. Again, not into it. Too easily faked. Could be a glitch in the TV screen. I don't know. Those videos always just seem like they're from some like obscure channel with like 4 subscribers and their video has like 300 views and it's like in some weird aspect ratio with like some weird intro and weird effects. Like, I don't know. It just, you know, footage and cases and things and people online even. You know, people, footage, everything online comes with a feeling attached, right? You know, even in Discord. Sometimes people join Discord and they come in very hot and heavy. They come into our chat channel, which is the main chat channel, and they start typing in capital letters about how the Queen is a reptilian and then how the world is ran by satanic pedophiles. And it does seem like they might be correct. But you don't come in like Kramer yelling that shit, okay? Read the room. Have some etiquette. Just relax. This, you know, like my Discord is open to everyone 100%, but like there is rules, okay? Like that Discord is special to me because it's a place where like people can come in and talk about literally whatever you want to talk about. You can be as weird as you want there, and that's what it's for. Yeah, at least say hello first. Before you start telling everyone that the world is ran by Satanist pedophiles, at least say hello, please. And you can say that stuff, but you need to have some etiquette. And, you know, when you come in hot and heavy typing in caps like that, you come with an energy. Everyone comes with an energy, whether you realize it or not online. And those, you know, we caught the Queen blinking into a reptile videos. To me, they come with an energy of like, I'm just not into it. There's something about it. But in the same breath, I'm all for the reptile theory. But those videos just ain't it for me. But yeah, the Discord is a drama-free place. And, you know, that goes for anyone. I've had to ban people who have been paying members of mine. I have. I've banned them because they're ruining the harmony of the Discord. And that comes above everything. That's a place that's meant to be safe. It's a safe place where people can just chat about whatever they want. And, you know, there are often times where people might have conflicting views in there. So it's up to those two people to be grown up enough and have a decalcified pineal gland, I keep referring to that today, enough to be able to have an exchange with someone who doesn't agree with them. Can you do that? That is the threshold of like human being to get into our Discord. Can you talk to someone who might not agree with you and still be a normal human? If you can't, you'll probably get kicked and banned, unfortunately. Thanks for coming though. Let's get into the David Icke video. So this, again, before the Dorito Brigade comes after me, this was posted 1 day ago. I don't know if it's an old video or not. I've never seen it. So who knows? But I've never seen it. So I'm sure some of you haven't either. Let's check it out. Let's get some volume first.
Hello, thank you. Well, we're going into some challenging information here and in the next section, so let me focus again. The idea that this is a lost cause that we're involved in here is no way is a lost cause. We take our power back, game over. So we can paint another picture. Please hold that thought because it's it's very, very important we don't get pulled into fear by seeing what we're involved with. Now, Gino Krishnamurti said something very, very true when he said, if we can really understand the problem, the answer will come out of it, because the answer is not separate from the problem. They're indivisible. For 25 years, I've been full-time on this, and the evidence has brought me to this conclusion. There's no one out there, you see. All that is, there's no one out there.
Is this volume okay for you guys, by the way? It's hard to tell for me. This also might, like, in a way, be a nice little prologue to tomorrow's video.
And when you think that what we're seeing is only what is within a narrow band of visible light,
Roger.
and then you think what possibilities lie beyond that in the great infinite forever, the idea that we are alone is absolutely beyond ludicrous. So like I say, I'll cut to the chase.
That's helpful. Otherwise, this wouldn't have been a 20-minute video.
Reality that we're experiencing has been hijacked by a force that some ancient people call archons, but there's different names right across the ancient world for the same force, the same entities. This is when the penny drops, when all these different names for the gods all over the world turn out to be different names for the same force, because they're described in the same way. And all over the world you see this. In the Far East, Central America and other places, they're known as the serpent gods. The Zulus call them the Chitahuri, the children of the serpent.
Okay, let's just stop there quickly, because I've been wanting to, we're going to look at the Credo Mortua interview by David Icke, which is just fascinating. I think the full thing is actually 6 hours, and we're not going to do that, and that's kind of why I haven't, because I got to find like a short version for us to do. We might even cover it over a couple of nights, but I've watched it, right? And in that interview, and this interview is from like 1998, right? This is actually crazy. That interview is from like 1998. And Credo Mortua is talking about the reptilian agenda, and that, because, you know, to Credo Mortua, and like he's a Zulu shaman, to him, you know, it's not like, ooh, spooky reptilians. It's like, no, I'm just telling you the history of my people that has been passed down for like generations and generations. It's not like, he's not talking about aliens. He's not trying to be spooky conspiracy guy. He's just telling you the history of his family, and he's talking about a reptilian species that have been controlling humanity for far, far longer than we realize, right? Stay with me. He then goes on to say they're called the Chitauri, okay? Chitauri. So when I'm watching that, and go, because guys, remember, I haven't seen shit. You guys, if you're in Discord, I don't watch movies. I don't watch this stuff. Like, I don't watch stuff. So I'm like, oh, Chitauri, that's pretty interesting. Like, he's given us a name. I've never heard Chitauri before. Google it. Guess what? They're in a Marvel movie called Chitauri. And you know what they are? They're reptilians from another planet that are cybernetically enhanced and super technologically advanced. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, that interview, and again, I think it's in the Avengers. Again, I don't know. I don't watch that stuff. The Avengers was made far well after the Credo Mortua and David Icke interview, okay? So what's happening there is the entertainment industry looking for inspiration in David Icke interviews? Are they researching Zulu shamans to build movies? Or are they trying to maybe dilute truth in fiction? It could actually be either. To be like, let's stay balanced. They could be looking at like weird foreign lore for movies. Let's stay open to that. But let's also just remember that, you know, there's a lot of other movies like Men in Black, and, you know, there's so many movies that seem to be like a little fun fictional version of like what seems to be a reality based on many people's cases and encounters, right? And just remember that about like the entertainment industry and you know, what are they doing? What are their motives for tomorrow's video? Because I think tomorrow's video is going to be called, it'll be called something like Billy Corgan's Shapeshifter Revealed. And then it will say something like, I don't know, Shapeshifters, Baal, and the dark side of Hollywood. Okay, that's the road we're going down. B-A-apostrophe-A-L. If you know, you know.
They're the Anunnaki in Sumer, Babylon, now Iraq. They're our Snake Brothers to the Hopi people of
Snake Brothers.
North America. They're the Star people, many, many examples of that. They are the demons of Christianity. To the Gnostics, they are archons. And to the Islamic and pre-Islamic world, they're called the jinn. And in their prime form, they are energetic in nature, but they can take form, as I will talk about. So, like I say, they're described so much in the same way, because they're different names for the same thing. So, the Gnostic people, not the Christian Gnostics, the pre-Christian Gnostics, that ran the great library at Alexandria, and they also manifested as the Cathars in southern France. They say that the archons are made from luminous fire. The jinn, according to Islamic and pre-Islamic belief, are made from smokeless fire. And you see this correlation of description wherever you go. Now, this, for me, was one of the great finds ever in terms of understanding the nature of what is happening. At Nag Hammadi in Egypt, about 77 miles north of Luxor on the Nile, in 1945, a sealed jar was found with loads and loads of documents in it, leather-bound.
Sorry, it's just before he moves on too far. Like, talking about, like, jinn, archons, demons, like, we've all seen that image where it's, like, you know, the others, and it's got, like, angels and stuff, and then, you know, the archons and whatever below. And he's saying that, like, this is all the same thing. Every religion has them, whether they're demons, jinn, devas, whatever. Every religion has them, archons, but they're, like, are people actually still arguing over, like, no, they're devas, no, they're archons, no, they're demons? Bro, it's the same thing. You're all just talking about it from a different culture. You just have a different name for it. It's the same shit. Like, is that not obvious? Surely Prada would know all this. I actually was thinking about him when I filmed that video today, and I was wondering what his take would be, or if he knows anything about it. $5 from Emily. Thank you, Emily. David Icke is an amazing source of information. Thank you, Josh, for all you do to keep us informed. My pleasure, and thank you for the support. I appreciate you.
And they told the beliefs and the perceptions of this people called the Gnostics. And the Gnostics had a completely different view of reality than religion, which is why the Roman Catholic Church and the Roman Church tried to destroy them wherever they got any strength and any foothold. They ran the great library at Alexandria, which had something like 500,000 scrolls detailing the beliefs of the ancient world and the history of the ancient world, destroyed by the Roman Church. And like I say, the Cathars, who were destroyed again by the Roman Church in 1244, I think it was.
Big man's a bit out of breath.
Was at that place in France, Montségur, that fort on the hill where I've been a couple of times.
You got this, bro. Just pace yourself.
The religious establishment wanted these people destroyed because they were dangerous, because they had the truths they didn't want the people to know about. And this is what these scrolls and this find at Nag Hammadi said. 1/5 of the texts, and there were lots of them,
I think so, Lucas,
were about a force they called the archons, which they say created our physical universe, and they equated them with the Judeo-Christian Yahweh.
Sorry, I'm just pausing this because we're not getting close-ups of what's on the screen. So I just wanted to read it quickly. Lord Archon, Demiurge, and the Archons. Archon means prince, ruler, authorities from the beginning. Fake God that created our physical or material reality as we perceive it. Gnostics related the demiurge to the Judeo-Christian Yahweh Jehovah God. Inorganic, not resulting from or produced by growth, artificial. Okay, interesting. $5 from Christina. Keep up the great work you're doing, spreading truth one weirdo at a time, and you're growing so fast, mate. Congrats on 20K. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate you. You've been supporting me for a long time, so I really do appreciate all of that. Thank you very much.
Jehovah God. And when you see the Old Testament kill 'em and flog 'em and all that stuff, God, it fits precisely with the descriptions of the archons by the Gnostics. So what they say in these writings, in these texts is...
Sorry, I know people hate it when I pause it, but just to cap this off, Moldy says, Marvel's Chitauri are also a shape-shifting race that helped the Nazis win the war and take over the world by giving them advanced tech during World War II. Brother. I mean, please. What are you doing to us? What are you doing to us? Like, if you're trying to wrap my mind into a bubble and spin it, you're doing a good job.
That, well, first of all, archon means prince, ruler, authorities, or from the beginning. That's why they use the word archon. They said that the archons and the Lord Archon, which they called the demiurge, was a fake god that created our physical or material reality as we perceive it. The Gnostics related the demiurge, like I say, to the Judeo-Christian Yahweh Jehovah God, and they are inorganic, not resulting from or produced by growth. They are artificial. And they say in these texts that they created the inorganic parts of the solar system, but that the sun, the moon, and the earth were a system that were of itself and different from the rest, which is kind of interesting with what will come later.
That is interesting. I've actually thought about that before. I don't know if I can really say this right now because I haven't thought about it enough to like talk about it again. But like basically I've thought about the idea of like what if like the sun, the moon, and earth is like a 3-part system that like engineers consciousness. And like without any one of those 3 pieces, like the machine doesn't work. I can't go any deeper than that, but I have gone deeper than that in my own, you know, that's the kind of shit I think about in the shower. What about you guys? What do you think about in the shower? Because that's what I think about. And I've gone really deep on it. And like I've extrapolated that theory in the past more, but it's too long ago for me to say any more without sounding like an idiot. Andy with his 6-monther, welcome. Enjoy that trim on your nice badge, my man. He says Yahweh is a rabbit hole all on its own in Hebrew. Accurate translation. Watch Paul Wallace blew my mind. Yep, Andy. I mean, it's not exactly that, but yeah, I think you'll like tomorrow's video.
They said that the demiurge archons had no creative imagination and envy humans because we have. They're like cyborgs. Again, we're coming back to the inorganic. Like cyborgs, a robotic race that can imitate but not innovate. And the word they used was counter-mimicry. Now, what they were saying, in effect, is if you gave these archons a blank sheet of paper, they could create nothing on it. They don't have that creative imagination, that what was called intentionality. But you give them something with a piece of paper with something on it, and they can twist it and manipulate it once it exists. And they used the term fantasia, because these entities, they said, just as the Islamic people say about the jinn, have the ability to create virtual reality illusions. They're mind parasites. They possess humanity and manipulate the way they perceive everything. And they say the word you could use more than any about the archons was deception. They are deceivers. And what they create is an inversion of the natural order, which will become so crystal clear as we go along. Now,
this is really, I don't want to keep like teasing it like I'm trying to like talk it up or anything, but there is so much about what he's saying right now that is relevant to what we're going to look at tomorrow. I'm excited for you guys to see it. Amy Hobbs, you little weirdo. Welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate the support. Can we see some hearts for Amy? And make sure you go check out the members content and the members section of the Discord. Thank you.
Now, as I've kind of studied this and put it together, it seems to me that what we're looking at is what I would call a self-aware distortion, and it's self-aware inversion. The Archon world described by the Gnostics is one of death, one of no creative imagination. And the other thing about the archontic mind is it's what we call psychopathic. They're psychopaths, the definition of which is this: no empathy, no remorse, no empathy, no ability to put themselves in the feelings of those that suffer the consequences of their actions. Once you have no empathy, you have no limit to what you will do because you have no emotional consequence for doing it.
Like Epstein and the clan? Yep. I think it was Reese that was saying the other night on our podcast, he was saying how, like, I'm pretty sure it was Reese, someone was saying that, like, people who get into these positions of power, like to become an elite, to become a billionaire, filthy rich, you kind of have to, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got to have like a good, at least 4 out of 6. You've got to have 4 out of those 6 to become a millionaire. Or no, I'd say a billionaire. I mean, fuck. Just buying a house, you need to have $1 million these days. So no, I would say billionaire, you need to have a 4 out of 6. And trillionaire is a straight 6 out of 6. No, I said 7.
Other thing, the Gnostics used in these texts the word hal, meaning simulation. They talked about the fact that these archons could create what we would call virtual realities through controlling perception.
Okay.
They said about the archons, they make something appear to happen that does not happen. They can induce a virtual reality experience in the translation. They can manipulate humans by creating illusions.
Okay. What if that's not in the way that we think about it, right? Because I feel like when we think of illusion, we think of like, ooh, I'm seeing like a mirage, like I'm seeing something, but it's not actually there. Is that what they're doing? Are they putting things in our vision that aren't actually there? Ooh, what if it's actually like, no, like the society that you live in, like the structures, having to pay taxes to be safe. What if that's the illusion? Like, what if instead of if we replaced illusion with matrix? Because I think that's maybe a better explanation of what I'm trying to say. What if these are like the weavers of matrices, and like Matthew Brown said, we are stuck inside that. It's like a mental prison. It's a mental prison. That is the illusion. And you mean like they live? Yeah, something like that. And that like once you like an unplugging from that and realizing that like, you know, most of society is fake and gay, that's getting out of the illusion. Like that's what the illusion is. It's not like a thing physical that you see that's like a trick. It's like the way that you live and that you think is normal. You think this is normal. That's the illusion.
Our reality does or is its possibilities and probabilities folded into existence by perception. So this whole archontic system is about programming our perception, programming a distortion of our perception, an inversion of our perception, which is why we live in a madhouse, because it's an inversion of the natural order. Now, before this, what I call hack, and you'll see why I say hack shortly, there was another world described by the ancients. And very much along the lines of the Avatar movie and the Na'vi, the blue people, and how they interacted with the natural world, how they communicated with animals, how they...
Davo, do not tell me that we are avatars right now. I think that's what he's going to say. I think he's going to say that like our consciousness is like our intuition, you know, that little voice that sort of sounds a little bit different, that kind of, you know, guides you. That's the real you. That's the real you somewhere else, plugging in via a consciousness stream into your avatar body. Don't go there, David. I'm barely hanging on as it is. You might break me.
Communicating with each other beyond speech. And what the Gnostic texts say is that the Archons made a bad copy, as they describe it, of our original reality. The original reality was that kind of avatar world. That world is an information construct which we decode into a lovely world. This is an information construct which we decode into the world that we have today. And the idea, this might need a battery, mate. The idea is was to create this illusory reality, anyway, and then tuning humans into that bad copy. Now, when you think about it, we're tuned into an information field of certain frequencies. We decode that into a reality. If we are then moved, our dial is moved so we're decoding something else, we just decode another completely different reality. And that's what is meant by this bad copy. So this is an image that sums it up. I'm walking outside in the sun.
$2 from Christina, again, with a little sticker. No note, but thank you, Christina. Appreciate that again. And Retro is feeling a bit better now. Feeling better, Retro. I'm glad, man. He's chucked in 50 sec, and I still don't know what sec is. But I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Glad you're feeling a bit better.
You don't have to be in the sun. You just have to decode the fact you're in the frickin' sun. And it's the same with this bad copy. You just decode a reality, and you think it's real because it's the only one that you can perceive. So you can decode a reality of the avatar kind, and then you are fed
Swedish krona. Thank you, my man.
a different information source, tuned into it, ways that I'll come to, and then you decode a different reality, what I call the archontic reality. If you can create a virtual reality simulation, then you can create an alternative to it as well, which is what the bad copy is.
And Mick says, but how do you take humanity out of today into a more spiritual, connected to earth race of people? Herein lies the problem and why we find ourselves here shrouded in secrets, confusion, and lies. I think things are the way they are only because it's like there's like a, how do I explain this? It's done with an illusion. It's done with an illusion. Like things are made to pretend like they're all good. And you know, all this stuff that you're going to find out about in tomorrow's video is done in the background, disguised, masquerading as something that it's not. And until people like actually wake up and like look at all the people talking about being abused in Hollywood, look at all the prolific pedophiles that are surrounding the politicians and the entertainers. Wake up. Wake up. There's clearly something going on. And until you actually, and you know, I feel like a lot of people, you know, I mean, how many child stars have come out or even not even lived past the age of like 25 or have come out and spoken about it. And like people hear the story and they're just kind of like, oh, that's horrible. Yeah, that's horrible. All right, off to work. And, you know, I get it. What are you going to do? Go storm the government or something? Like, I get that. But, you know, if everyone actually was like, no, actually, this is happening. This is happening. That is the world that we live in. And if you just keep like going, oh, well, off to work. What sports are on? Should we go down the pub? As long as you keep doing that shit, like, then it's just going to keep happening. You actually have to like do something and like on a major scale. And obviously like that's far easier said than done. I get that. But what I'm getting at is I actually think that just that awareness and that collective like agreement on a larger scale that like, no, this is actually fucked. Like something horrible is going on. And it's not just in Hollywood. It's like it's in politicians as well. Where's the Epstein list? Apparently it was on your desk. disappeared. Apparently there isn't an Epstein list now. That's weird. You're compromised. You're blackmailed. Sounds like it. So are we going to just forget about the Epstein list soon and just go to work on Monday? Or are we finally maybe going to be like, you know, this will keep happening until you relinquish like the acceptance of it. And I think it is actually like as simple as that switch of just like not accepting it, but it has to happen on like a wider scale, which is obviously the hard part. But to answer your question in an extremely roundabout way, Mick, I think it's just, it comes down to like a elevation of consciousness and a wider awakening. And I think / hope that is happening right now, slowly.
And you're tuned to it through something called entrainment. Entrainment is the process by which, if you have 3 violins and they're all plucked to the same note, therefore they are the dominant frequency, put another violin in there, either plucked to another note or not plucked to any note, and it will start vibrating in sympathy with them, because they're the dominant frequency. And if you can create a dominant frequency, then you can start to entrain the human decoding system into that frequency, and suddenly you're decoding a completely different reality. This oncontic energetic inversion distortion is not in this reality in form, although it can be, as I'll come to, but it exists in a reality very close to this one.
They don't need to fall all of us, just enough of us. That's exactly right. And I think the inverse is true, that like not every single person on Earth needs to wake up either, but just like the majority. You need to have a majority vote, pretty much. I know what humanity needs to do, but humanity at large does not. Well, Mick, I'm doing my part, brother. I'm trying to do my part.
And the idea is to distort our reality more and more so it starts to blend and combine and come together with theirs. They are seeking to turn this reality into an extension of their reality through distortion and inversion. Now, this is even Alexander. He said that when he had his massive near-death experience, the first place he went to was very unpleasant. And to me, what he described was very much like this archontic realm that I'm talking about. He said he heard the sound of rhythmic pounding that was distant yet strong, a little like a heartbeat, but darker and more mechanical that keeps coming up. Cyborg. Like the sound of metal against metal, as if a giant subterranean blacksmith is pounding an anvil somewhere off in the far distance.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt David there, but Swiss Miss just made a fantastic comment. It says, spread positivity, it's energy that goes out, be the change you want to see in the world. Literally this. Literally that. Like the energy you put out not only comes back to you, but it has a ripple effect. Mick says, I'm not against you, dude. I'm old. I get it. Oh, no, dude. I know you're not against me. 100%. I'm just saying, you know, it's all well and good to say, like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? It's like, well, you can only do what you can control, which is yourself, right? And everyone will have their own way of, like, trying to make a positive change. This is mine. But also, like, in just waking day-to-day life, like, just being kind to people, literally just being kind to people. You know, if someone's having a bad day, just not taking it personally and getting angry back, trying to send them like good vibes back, because that's clearly what they need. Yeah, it's just about putting out good energy, and it should come back tenfold. And when enough people are doing it, it'll hopefully make a change. But obviously there are things going on in the world that are dark and need to stop. And obviously, like, a tangible change needs to happen as well, not just like an energetic change, for sure.
Pounding so hard that the sound vibrates through the earth or the mud or wherever it is that you are. Reptilian, worm-like creatures crowded past him, he said, and sometimes rubbing against him with their smooth and spiky skins. Faces bubbled up out of the darkness and became ugly and threatening. The pounding intensified and became like the work beat for some army of troll-like underground workers. He became aware of a smell, a little like feces, a little like blood, a little like vomit, a biological smell, in other words, but a biological death, not biological life. And whatever.
This sounds like a reptilian version of those like erotic novels that girls read. Girls, yo, so guys that are in the chat here, I'm going to let you in on a secret. You know how girls like on TikTok love reading books and stuff? And they're always talking about book talk? 90% of those books are like straight up porn. I'm telling you. They're all into like fully erotic novels. Like it's not actually porn, they're stories, but they're so dirty. For real. I didn't know this until recently. The girls, they think they're all like sweet and cute and innocent with their little books and stuff. They're reading porn. Literally just reading porn.
That fits absolutely the descriptions of these entities and this inversion. And they're seeking to bring their reality into ours by syncing their frequency. The Golden Age society, the way it's described, and again in the way the Avatar movie portrayed that society, was a heart society. This was the point from which they interacted with the world, the heart, which allowed them to experience reality outside the bounds of time and space. When you come from...
Bro, girls falling in love with serial killers because they're trauma babies. Heidi's been exposed. Definitely an erotic book reader in the chat. Cat Simpson says all. What the actual fuck? Come on, Cat. It's okay. This is a safe space. We can all be ourselves here. No judgment.
From the heart, you don't do hatred. The heart doesn't hate. The heart doesn't seek to destroy. And so this inversion was about taking the point of interaction with the world from the point of love, heart, into the emotions.
Here we go.
And how do we see now our society and how people interact with it from the level of emotional response and emotional reaction instead of here? And when that moves to that we interact with the world here, the world dramatically changes. And so, like I said earlier, with this heart coherence with the central nervous system and the brain, once we get into this, we start to disconnect from the heart, disconnect from beyond time and space, and start to have this as the governor of our perception. And if you take it in a computer game terms, the idea is to pull us into the lowest level where this our
Yep, give me computer game analogies and I'll be all over it. By the way, Retro with another 50 Swedish krona. Thank you, my man. Appreciate that a lot.
Force works from. Now, these Gnostic writings have been estimated to have been buried in that sealed jar between about 350 and 400 AD, which corresponds with the destruction of the Great Library of Alexandria run by Gnostic thinkers. But it's suggested that they were possibly written about 100 AD. In those documents, all that time ago, best part of 2,000 years, they say that the archons can take form, and the main forms they take are reptilian entities and those known today as greys. The archons describe the greys as...
Archons in form. The Gnostic texts describe reptilian entities and those known today as greys as archons taking form. Right, okay, so they're saying they're two different things, but both are forms of archons. The greys are described like an unborn baby or fetus with grey skin and dark, unmoving eyes.
Like an unborn baby or fetus with grey skin and dark, unmoving eyes. That was nearly 2,000 years ago, and it's the same description as what we call grey entities today in the modern world.
Wow, that's a 2,000-year-old description. Pretty wild.
And of course, I've been saying for a long time now that behind the human networks of control is a reptilian form. But I did say a long time ago, I didn't think it ended there. I thought it went into the realms of something else. And this something else is this archontic inversion, I would suggest. Like I say, condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance. But this
Oh, David. David. A little bit louder, please, for the people in the back. Condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance. Can someone send a copy of that to the Dorito cheese-fingered people on X who just yelled debunked and fake at everything without providing like any evidence? My man, David.
Hey, condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance. But they say it's rubbish, but they don't investigate it. And yet when the Daily Mail runs a story from some chemist scientist a few years ago who said that he thinks from his research that there are reptilian entities all around in other dimensions, then he was treated as dead straight because he's a scientist, so he must know what he's talking about. And there
What did he call him? A chemist? What did he say? Chemist scientist or something? That was funny.
was another study which was kind of projecting what some of the dinosaurs would look like if they hadn't been wiped out, as they say. And they came up with the fact that by now they would be humanoid reptilian entities like that, which is interesting because when you look at the descriptions around the world, this is a Zulu description, this is a painting made by a Spanish artist who said he interacted or experienced these reptilian entities. They are
I believe the technical term is the Smartosaurus Rex, yes.
described in remarkably similar ways. And this is something called the Charney Project. And it's one of those kind of things that happen so often when I'm researching. I'll come to conclusions and I'll write it, and then something will come along and it will say, look at this. And long after I'd been writing about these reptilian entities, I read this article. I was in Nexus magazine, and it was by a whistleblower about a project called the Charney Project, Computer Interface Communication with Other Realms. And he said that in the 1990s here, 1994, for 5 years, they, at a kind of similar thing to what's happening at CERN, it was one of these collider things, but in Africa and smaller.
I'm sorry, I just realized I haven't had Suki's cam on the whole time, and she's been sleeping so cute-like. That's my bad. Someone suggested, Macca suggested actually that I should have a bag of snacks and you guys can feed her snacks for like $5. I'm putting a threshold on it because if it's like $1, she's just going to get fat. And I'm probably going to cap it at like 10 or 20 because, you know, she's a healthy girl. Look at her. Gotta keep an eye on that. But that's not going to be a regular thing. Maybe like just on a weekend or something for a bit of fun.
5 years, they interacted through computer systems with an entity in another dimension, another reality, and asked a total of 20,000 questions. And interestingly, this is what came through this entity, according to this Charney Project. A reptilian race was holding back humans so they couldn't grow. The entity said they had fought many battles against the reptile race in their own reality. Humans were more evolved spiritually than the reptiles, but they suppress humans with their technology. Their God is their technology. That will become seriously relevant.
Ooh. Humans were more evolved spiritually than the reptiles, but they suppress humans with their technology. Their God is their technology. Okay. So Peter Thiel and Palantir, you know where this is going, right? The whole thing. Well, first of all, he was. Do you guys remember where he was like? Someone asked him, like, people are saying you're the Antichrist, and a normal person would be like, oh, that is ridiculous. And he was like, yeah. Like, bro, are you the Antichrist? Probably just say no, and say it with conviction. With any other answer than that is so sus. And bro was like stumbling, looking for an answer. Like, what the hell is that? And if you rearrange Peter Thiel, it spells the reptile. And I'm not joking. And, what they're trying to bring in is basically like an AI god, like an AI hive mind that we all connect to and that runs us. That's essentially what is happening there with Palantir.
spiritually than the reptiles, but they suppress humans with their technology. Their God is their technology. That will become seriously relevant later in the day. But look, what did the Gnostics say? That humans have creative ability, where the archons don't. It says here, more spiritually evolved than the reptiles, but we are suppressed through technology.
Suppressed through technology. And you know, the Chitauri, the story of the Chitauri. I mean, even in the Marvel movies, they are reptilians that are cybernetically enhanced and super advanced technologically. And like Moldy said, they helped the Nazis win World War II, which is just crazy. Like, okay, hey, fuck with my head a little bit more, please. It is actually crazy.
We are the blind. The archons are the one-eyed king. But when we become the two-eyed, third-eyed, true consciousness that we are,
preach it, David.
I have no power is what the Matrix keeps telling us, and what the agents of the Matrix keep telling us.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look to authority. We
Louder.
have the power.
Louder.
Awakened, we have the power, and humanity is awakening.
Shout out to David. What a man. That video was obviously cut up, right, from a much longer video. Probably much longer, knowing David Icke. I would like to watch it though. And we'll definitely watch some more David Icke on the channel, because he's just an absolute G. And you know, I was thinking, like, when I did that reptile video a week or two ago, whatever, I was thinking of like going deep on, because you know how they do Shark Week? I want to do Reptile Week, but obviously I've got to piece together enough content for, like, you know, at least like, you know, a Monday to Friday live stream every night, and we'll do something, you know, reptile related. But I've got to figure out what that content would be. But that could be fun. I would like to do Reptile Week. Let me know in the chat if you want to see Reptile Week. But I think that probably wraps up today. The Credo Motwa interview probably could at least be 2 parts. That's definitely 2 days of Reptile Week. We could probably get a bit of Jordan Maxwell in there. And yeah, I'll do a bit of digging. We'll see what we can find. But I hope you've enjoyed tonight's stream. It was a lot of fun. I didn't think we had much going on, but it ended up being a really good time. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Suki's had a good time, even though we kind of missed her through most of the stream, but she enjoyed it too. Shaggy and Scoob, mission accomplished. Mystery solved. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you once again. Look out for the video tomorrow. It's deep, dark, and wild. I hope you enjoy it, but thank you for hanging out tonight. Take care of yourself. Touch grass. I'll see you next time.
Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light in our galaxy. Everything. Because everything is in balance. Everything is a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.